Why do you need a law for free SHS? Why do you need a law?
Well, the free SHS has been a phenomenal policy, even though it didn't allow me to finish my
Please forgive me.
The free SHS. So now I'll say you are not a fair host.
Yeah, that's
the free
fine.
SHS is a phenomenal policy. A lot of people have benefited. Personally, for me, it's a touch point for me. It's a cornerstone, another cornerstone achievement of Akufo-Addo's presidency. And I am excited that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has committed that he would pursue the free SHS, ensuring that our children have that access. And I think that it's a fulfillment. The law that is being proposed is designed to activate provisions in our Constitution. I think Article 38(2) or so, operationalize that. And so for me, it's proper. Initially, there was concerns that the NDC were opposed to it, but some other readings I see that they say they are not opposed to it. It's good for us. Let's advance in ways that we say that we are pursuing or involved in the evolution of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and our citizens must be empowered, must be given the minimum level of education to be able to participate effectively. Now, I think that if anybody attains secondary education in Ghana, they have been put on a cusp. Even if they haven't been able to continue after free SHS, any time in their life, if they determine their destiny depends on education or requires education for them to flourish, they can always advance. And at that point, they are matured, they can make that decision for themselves. But for now, the free SHS is a game changer. This government must be commended for it, for how much is put into it.
The Constitution in Article 25 is very clear, educational rights. All persons shall have the right to equal educational opportunities and facilities. And with a view to achieving the full realization of that right, basic education shall be free, compulsory, and available to all. Secondary education in all its different forms, including technical and vocational education, shall be made generally available and accessible to all by every appropriate means, and in particular, by the progressive introduction of free education. Why do we need a law? That's the question.
So I was telling you, if you look at the Directive Principle of State Policy 38(2), I think that the law actually is seeking to just operationalize that. It talks about it, essentially what you read, if you look at 2 and perhaps 2A, 2 and 3A, it talks about equal and balanced access to secondary and other appropriate pre-university education, and then everything that you talked about. So that this law essentially is going to give effect to that and mainstream it, that free education is supposed to be provided for all our citizens.
Okay.
So I think it's a good thing, and goodness sake, NDC supports it. So there's one thing that we commend them also about, for seeing the vision after all their theatricals about reviewing it, cancelling it, and all of that. We need to move forward, because a good policy requires whatever evaluations that must be done.
All right.
Certainly, there cannot be any disagreement.
Article 28 that you refer to, Article 38 that you refer to, talks about a program. Yeah. Yes, Yusuf said.
So,
you have been running it on a program. That's the point I'm making.
Among the challenges confronting the free senior high school program, implementation program, is not the list is law, because the Constitution is quite clear that we must progressively introduce free. So there's a constitutional imperative, injunction on government, on the state, to progressively introduce free education in this country.
We have implemented various portions of the Constitution by an act of Parliament.
Yes, so I'm saying that an act of Parliament is good, but it's the list of challenges.
Okay.
Okay. Now, number 2, there is an African Peer Review Committee recommendation that governments that have about 6 months to leave office should be cautious in introducing legislation into Parliament. You are aware of that?
One of the reasons the RTI was shut down by the chairman
in the last
before
year.
you were,
I
wanted to pass it.
I didn't want to even refer to it. The RTI is now a cornerstone of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, but RTI was shut down in 2016
when it was ready, cooked
because it was introduced 6 months to the elections. And so,
well, what happened to the entire 80?
well, I'm just saying that, no, I'm situating that within what the African Peer Review Committee has said. But let's wait for there was a previous attempt to introduce it. It failed because they attempted to define secondary education to include basic education. It failed. I mean, people raised, and that was in Parliament, we raised constitutional issues on that because the Constitution categorically distinguishes between basic education and secondary education. So let's see what provisions they are going to bring.
Okay.
I mean, we are not opposed. I mean, every government, and we should make it clear, including Nkrumah.
You are not opposed, but there has been a caveat by some of your members, particularly Peter Nochu has said, no, he doesn't say you are opposed. Well, in Parliament, your group has said that, well, there's no document in front of us now, so let's not even begin an argument. And on the day Afenyomakin raised it, the majority were, I think, 12, and the minority were about 35. So there was a question of quorum. So the speaker had to suspend the sitting. He's saying that if the law will take into account all the problems and how to tighten to make sure the problems are resolved, then they will support it. So there's a caveat that he gave, Peter.
No, they will support the law, not the free HSS. The law is a different thing. Because no one can actually, in his right mind, say that anybody is opposed to free HSS. Because every government, since Nkrumah, has implemented some form of free education.
That's right.
Yeah, so who in his right mind will say I'm opposed to it? We're saying that the challenges must be addressed.
Okay.
And the law, introducing the law, is a list of challenges. So that's why the minority said, if the law may address those challenges, then there's no problem.
All right.
But the issue raised is the law, not...
Well, I think that the idea to say we want to introduce a law for me is a political idea, because look, I mean, even entrenched provisions of the Constitution, when has to be amended are amended. So if the fear is that a new government or a different government may come and say we don't want free SHS, it's a matter of just repealing the law.
If they have majority.
If they have majority. And from our history, I think, I mean, apart from this particular parliament, the trend has been that whichever party wins the presidential literally ends up winning the majority also in parliament. And so for me, and once there is that somehow consensus, NDC not saying that when we come to power we would, and like Honorable is saying, who in his right senses would say that I'm coming to cancel this policy? For me, it is so, we all have relatives who are in secondary schools, and something. You can go to some of the topmost schools, go to Presec, go to Achimota, go to Accra Academy, go to Tamale Secondary, and so on, and see the level of infrastructure decay. You know, you go to some of these schools and boarding facilities and you see no doors, no louver blaze, you know, and
it's an issue of maintenance.
It's not an issue.
It's an issue of maintenance.
No. But who must maintain them?
But the school. The school has responsibility.
How? How would the schools have that responsibility? Where are they getting that money from? But when under free SHS, even PTAs are bad.
All right.
PTA dues
let's bring on Mary now. Sorry, I have just a minute. Hello, Mary.
Yes.
Yes. What difference does it make from where you sit? Whether we run free SHS on a program, as it is being done now, or on a law?
Something. I'm even surprised that we are having this discussion. As a student of policy, I believe we have done the right things and done the wrong things somehow. If you look at what we did, it was premised on the Constitution, and just like you have mentioned all the directive principles of state policy and chapter 25. And so it's interesting that we are now thinking about a law. And why now? Just close to elections. And like Sule said, if it is thinking about a new government scrapping it, I don't believe so. Because for some of us, we have gone to school and been educated because we were from areas where education was free, and so we benefited from it. So no one would say it shouldn't be, but where it's been implemented, and again, the examples are there to show that it's not been the best. Where we are talking about equity, We are not talking about equality in this sense. Let's see how we can implement this to ensure that we are doing the right thing. If we wanted a law, why didn't we, from the formulation stage, let's ensure that we had a law before then we talk about policy and implementation? We have done it the way we want. And so let us look at the challenges, identify these, all agree to tackle them before we think about putting in place a law. And again, we know that if the government does not want it, they don't even have to repeal the law, not to prioritize it. As we speak, implementing development projects based on manufacturing.
Thank you very much, Mary. And Mary Awalana Ada, Executive Director, Ghana Integrity Initiative. Suleiman Ibrahima is Executive Director, Media Foundation for West Africa. Richard Ahiagba is Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party. Yunus Afuseni is lawyer and former MP Tamale Central and was Minister also. I'm Samson Ladi. My outfit, as always, is by Konati Clothing. They are at the Adenta Shopping Center. Adenta Down. You can call them 0244 676732. 676732. And the promotion is still on. 10 to 15% discount if you are making orders for Father's Day or the Eid al-Fitr or Adha, rather. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, join me on my favorite show, The Law, as we speak about procurement, what the procurement law was set up to do. Kobina Atabedu is a procurement expert, and Michael Kofi Kwashi is also a procurement expert. At 2 p.m. tomorrow. Have a good afternoon.